Another DLC, another time travel back to the noughties, but this time we're in Raceroom to experience the 2002 DTM car pack to enjoy some German touring car action from my favourite era. So let's find out what it's like. Well, here we are once again in the noughties, which I'm sure you all know by now is absolutely perfect for me. But not only that, we're in Germany, we're at the Hockenheim Ring, and we're in an Abt Audi TT-R, the finale of the 2002 DTM season, up against the likes of the AMG Mercedes CLK and the Opel Astra V8 coupe. Regardless that there are only 3 manufacturers in DTM at this point in the series, this season created a lot of great races, and the Audi, as we all know, became quite the iconic car, as well as the Opel. To be fair, in its own right, winning the Nürburgring 24-hour race, and Audi even entering a couple of their TT-Rs into the race, but weren't as successful against the Opel. But it created some great racing during the DTM season, and the reason why we chose Hockenheim is because not only did it start the 2002 season, but it also rounded out the 2002 season as well. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the first year, or maybe 2001 was, or it finished in 2001, and racing began in 2002, of this current layout, whereas the old layout would take you far into the forests with a couple of chicanes to break up the straights, whereas this one, we're only carrying on down the straight. We take quite a tight right-hander, and then it cuts off about half of what the old circuit was, which, to be fair, I like both Hockenheim layouts, and I can't really remember the last time I raced on Hockenheim, to be honest, as we're going to go for the overtake on the CLK, down the inside to the hairpin, and he's come round the outside of me, he's completely mugged me there. And even a bit of a push on the exit. I am using ABS and traction control, so I do have, I think Raceroom gives you a 50 kilo ballast for that as we send it down the inside. But he's going to cut back underneath me. He's there, we've got the inside. We're going to run him out of room, and that's an overtake made. Yes, I'm running those assists because I am absolutely crap at this last sector, and the AI just seemed to run off. So I've set them to 100%, I suppose, which is what I usually set various sim racing games, and 100 seems to be sort of a good point, a good starting point at least. So I think a bit of ABS, a bit of traction control just to help me out, even though these cars didn't in period at the time. Yeah, otherwise these things were absolute rockets on rails with the amount of aero that they had. I really like the look of these noughties, big flared arches. To be fair, the wings were quite, I don't know, they didn't. They do kind of stick out, but I think they kind of suit the cars, especially the Audi, because it's a bit more of a coupe compared to the other two. Yeah, they just look great, and they sounded great as well. They're really high revving V8 engines were perfect. But yes, to say to round out 2025. Not only did we get a very good DLC pack from Automobilista for the 2005 endurance racing season, where you could do the Spa 24-hour, the Petite Le Mans 1,000 kilometers, or the Le Mans 24 hours with the various, you know, Audi R8, Aston Martin TVR1, and so on for that 2005 season. Raceroom have provided us with not only the 2002 season of DTM, they've also included the 2025 season, as the Mercedes has caught us out because we are so crap at that final sector. They could just come up the inside. I don't know whether it's a setup problem or because I've just not had the time to be able to feel the car without ABS or traction control. I just feel like I get a load of understeer through that last sector, and they are literally on rails. Count how many times I'm going to say rails for describing the characteristics of these cars. It's going to be a few. So yeah, so following on from another Naughties DLC release not too long ago, must be at least a month or two now, from Automobilista, Raceroom have joined in and gone back a little bit further to 2002. I mean, you could regard Raceroom now as a DTM simulator, as we have murdered the AMG, even with ABS. I'm pretty sure he braked very early, but of course I would say that because I've just run him off the road. There is a bit of damage we're running, so I'm going to assume I'm now going to have buckets of understeer. But there's a bit of a gap now. I did do some trial races, and I think the 100% AI difficulty is pretty much there or thereabouts. I've got to push and take liberties with the track limits, which I have conveniently turned off, because in my qualifying sessions I just could not put a time down because I would just, I don't know, sometimes I would feel like the corner cutting would say that I did for something that I felt like I didn't or wouldn't be, certainly through the last sector, sort of jumping off a curb, but I should just learn to stay within the track limits, really. But because it's sim racing and it's only single player, I can sort of mould it to my abilities, which aren't that good at the moment, but I so far have enjoyed this immensely. I don't really get the chance to do a lot of sort of touring car racing. I think we all wanted that British touring car game to come out, and it sort of hasn't. And a while ago, I think the Raceroom DTM cars became popular again. Sort of the ones from the 90s. I don't know why I just didn't jump on board with that, really, because everyone enjoys a bit of touring car racing. It's sort of a bit more elbows out, isn't it? And a bit more, like I said, you can clatter the curbs, and these cars, maybe not the ones 2002 because they are a bit more sort of aero dependent and incredibly low, but certainly the older cars you could, you know, go rock crawling over the curbs and they would take it. But yeah, it's a nice break from where I'm usually am in Assetto Corsa. And I guess I'm going to have to compare it to Automobilista's 2005 DLC pack. And sort of in a similar vein, it's, I don't know, a lot of the stuff in the sim racing world at the moment is, if we look at the games that have just come out, and sort of to, I'll say to timestamp this, but I mean, it's when Project Motor Racing, whatever it is, has come out, and it's not a finished game. And when the new Assetto Corsa came out, again, it's not really a finished game, and then they released the rally game alongside. And sort of in my head, I'm like, well, okay, the rally thing's cool, and that looks like a pretty much almost finished, polished game. But why didn't they just either do one or the other? and have one finished game rather than two kind of finished games, one a little bit more than the other. And the same with sort of Project Motor Racing. I nearly bought it. I thought, well, you know, maybe I'll spend the 80 quid and, you know, get a year's worth of DLC, and it wouldn't be that bad, would it? Well, it turns out it's terrible, according to everyone else. But I think you sort of have to go by the content creators you watch, don't you? And if they say it's terrible, then you sort of have to go by it, because I don't want to put down 80 quid, because that's a lot of money. To a lot of people, that's a lot of money. Whereas this 2002 DLC was, so this 2002 DLC was €10 there or thereabouts, which is I think that's just how much it costs. And then you can get the 25 car pack for €20. And then there's also they do an online racing pack, which is 12 cars, 27 tracks, which is currently 91% off for €28. So if you got all those three, that's still less than supposedly what's supposed to be a finished game. And then you do have to then buy the tracks and stuff. It's the same model as iRacing, but nowhere near as expensive. But then again, you sort of get what you pay for, and if you want to have the ultimate realism experience, and iRacing is the one for you, and you do have to fork out a lot of money for it. But if you want something a bit more, I'll say casual, but that's not the right word, sort of not as strict, but you can still have the real racing experience, then yeah, Raceroom's definitely for you. And I think the Hockenheim track I bought was maybe €5 in total. So on the DLC on this track, I spent €15 as opposed to 80 quid on a game that everyone says is awful. And I think it just, I was going to say these smaller sim racing games, whether that's small is the correct word or not for Raceroom or Automobilista, but these ones seem to just sort of lie under the radar a bit and just are driving along, doing what they're doing, and then every now and again releasing a DLC and go, here it is. And the most part, it adds so much to the game because it's so refined, it's so well done, it's a finished product, and that's all we want, isn't it? From sim racing. I'm just so tired of seeing, I say, the last couple of games to be released, it's basically two of them have been, well, this could be good, but it's not finished, and obviously they just use the alpha and beta names to say, well, it's not a finished product, but you can buy it for full price, and you know, you can help us develop the game by telling us what's wrong with it, but still pay full retail price for it. And for me, that sort of ruins the experience. I want to, if a game's released, then I'd like to play with the game as it's intended, as we go way too deep. But somehow keep it on the circuit. Yeah, just these, say, the Raceroom DLC and the Automobilista DLC are punching way above their weight. And again, it's such a... Again, I wouldn't say it's a simple concept, but it's just a finished release. And I say the Automobilista one, it adds 3 tracks, but then you can replicate 3 of the biggest events during that year for half the price, not half the price, a third of the price, a quarter of the price of these full games that are just not finished and shouldn't really be ready for public consumption. I'd say I'm glad I didn't buy that Project Motor Racing game. I was looking forward to it. I like the look. I liked the look of it, and I still do. But this has been a way funner experience. I mean, sure, I'm not catching the car ahead, but I'm driving the hell out of this car while I moan about these other games not being what they're supposed to be, being what they said they were supposed to be. And say this is a much better experience, and I just think there's a lot to be learned. You know, we're not asking for much. We just want a racing game that works, and then it needs to have some of the current crop of racing cars, and then some classic ones, and then tracks to go with it. And that's it. I'm happy that Raceroom is pretty much doubling down on the DTM series. I mean, I know there's much more to Raceroom than the DTM stuff, but I know now if I want to do some other DTM stuff, I know Raceroom's the perfect thing for it. It's got the majority of the tracks that you're going to need, and the majority of the cars you're going to need. As we were getting so close, and I've messed up on that. I don't even know what I did there. It just should have kept going sideways. Right, we'll do all that again. How much have we got left? We've got about just under 8 minutes left. Definitely taking liberties with the track limits, trying to catch up with this Mercedes. Thought would be 5th place, would it be? But again, I'd like to spend way more time on this and learn to drive these cars without the ABS and traction control. It's going to be a steep learning curve, but it's going to be so rewarding when I can. And I think that's what the great thing about this DLC is. It's the cars reward and punish you in a predictable way. You know, if you take too much curb, whether that's on the inside or the outside of the corner, it will try and spin you around, as well as if you're driving too aggressively, it's going to want to understeer and it will feel like your tyres are overheating. But if you get everything just right, these cars really do reward you, and you can put in some mega laps and yeah, just such an incredibly rewarding experience, which I think that's what everyone's looking for in a car pack. And then also I think they look great as well, they sound great. It's just a very nice, well put together, polished DLC, and I've said that a lot in all the DLCs that have come out. But that's what these ones are. I think perhaps they have a lot more on the line than these bigger, you know, AA, AAA title game developers, and these slightly sort of mid-tier ones don't have much capital, so if something does go, if something, you know, if they get a load of bad reviews, then it will take them a lot more to recover than perhaps the ones that come out already. But yeah, anyway, that's enough of me going about unfinished games. We're talking about this one, and it's brilliant. But usually actually I'll talk about the actual 2002 season, which I haven't yet. But we can do that one. I'm still trying to catch him. We're probably back where we were before I made that silly mistake. As I think I've worked out that final sector now. That definitely felt a lot better. But yes, for the first time, standing starts were introduced for the 2002 season, as well as the Formula 1 style point systems were also adopted, and hands devices were now mandatory, so they're the ones that stop your head bouncing off the inside of the car. Like I said, Hockenheim started and finished the season. Other races would include Sachsenring, Norrisring, Lautzring, Nürburgring, but it was only one race, I believe. The A1 Ring, and then non-German races, you had Zolder, which is in Belgium, you had Zandvoort, which is in the Netherlands, and Donington Park. Which I thought about doing a race there, but I thought actually it's been so long since I've done a race at Hockenheim, so there you go, that's my reasoning. And there's a pretty close title fight towards the end. Laurent Lalliot finished on 70 points, Bernhard Schneider finished in 64, Matthias Eriksson 50 points. So it's relatively close. It was mostly a sort of Mercedes Audi title fight. Unfortunately, the Opel weren't as quick, but they did pick up a few podiums here and there. Throughout the season. But certainly, if you do have a chance, go through on YouTube the 2002 DTM season, because there were some absolute blinding races. I think the A1 Ring especially. But I believe we're on our final lap, and yeah, final thoughts. Buy it. I mean, why not? It's currently €5, and if you already have Raceroom, I'm sure you already have a couple of tracks. I'm probably looking to do, at some point, a 2002 DTM season, because I think they have all the racetracks. And for the ones I need to buy, if they're all sort of €4 or €5 a piece, I'm looking at another, like, maybe €30 in total, which then would have put, including this car pack and the Hockenheim I've just bought, maybe €40 in total from the entire DTM season. I don't think that's that bad, really. But yeah, this is absolutely brilliant. The cars feel great, they look great. Yeah, I just can't believe it's taken me this long to get on Raceroom. I think I had before. I think I must have had a long, long time ago, because I already had it in my Steam library. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting into this game a lot more and trying out the other content they've got. There's a lot of GT3 cars in there now because of the 2025 DTM pack. But yeah, they also have the hype cars as well, so that'll be interesting to try out. Yeah, a lot of 90s touring cars. Endurance races, we've got the Audi R18, TT-R, 2014 DTM, 2020 DTM. So a couple of super tourers, hypercars. It's yeah, if you're looking for something that's sort of similar to Assetto Corsa but requires far less modding, and it's all there just ready to purchase. I think most cars are sort of between sort of €2 and €5. Yeah, this is the game for you. So there we are, across the line. I think we started with the 7th, and we finished 6th, so I shall take that for my first race. I've got a lot to learn, but I certainly enjoyed that. I think you would too, so head over to Raceroom and download the 2002 DTM pack. Thank you very much for watching, take care, and I'll catch you next time.